just facts, no cat. No pad, no pen, just facts, no cat. No pad, no pen, just facts, no cat. No, I do not rehearse, I'm a vet, check the stats. All I do is keep it real, you don't like it, don't listen. Tune in every Sunday, the real ones pay attention. No pad, no pen, just facts, no cat. No, I do not rehearse, I'm a vet, check the stats. All I do is keep it real, you don't like it, don't listen. Tune in every Sunday, the real ones pay attention. Go.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is a special episode, no pad, no pencil. Got my man here.
What up, what up? How y'all doing? Omar Jordan, retired football player, Carolina Panthers, Baltimore Ravens, Buffalo Bill.
No Hazel here, the man with the master plan. This is a special episode. Oh, I labeled this video as Lamar Jackson, the NFL Curt flood. What you think about that?
You know what? It's a lot of it's a lot of comparisons to what's going down and how the contract situations is being handled, the smothering the mud, throwing mud on this man's name in the media, the shots that's being taken, and all because he wanted to express and exercise his own executive powers. I mean, so
and he's the reason why I say he's the most important free agent in the history of football. They are going to change free agency after him. Mm-hmm. First thing first, he has no representation. He's doing it himself. That's a no-no because whenever a pro athlete or entertainer gets to that point the way they try to indoctrinate you because you need their representation to get to a certain level in sports and entertainment.
It's pretty much like, how dare you? I think, to be honest with you, Curt Flood was one of the first. And see, here's the thing. Every generation, you have an athlete or anybody in entertainment that sets a precedent, okay, on how they do things as far as not only on the field, what they do off the field, okay? And I think John Stockton was his own representation too. But right. Nobody, blew a whistle on that because we all know protection for the complexion, because he did I think he went to Gonzaga, and Gonzaga, they pretty much like sports marketing is one of their things at that university. So that's why I think he learned the game from. But, like I said, every, generation, it sets a precedent. It's one guy or individual sets a precedent. Whether people love him or hate him, LeBron James, when he expressed his own executive powers, and I think that gave him the freedom to do that is when he hired his homeboy and one of his close road dogs, Rich Paul, to be his representation. And what that's done, you had a lot of younger athletes paying attention and saying, wait a minute, we're seeing how these athletes are getting played out in the end via, Steve McNair, who gave his life and soul to that Titans organization, only to get stopped by a security guard that he didn't even know to say, wait a minute, they about to trade you. We can't let you in the facility.
What?
Yeah, they did him like that in Tennessee. They did Jerry Rice. A similar situation with Jerry Rice in San Francisco said, wait a minute, Mr. Rice, you can't enter the facility. The organization is about to release you.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, you give your life, you give your blood to these organizations to only for them to turn around. And when they decide that when they want to move on from you, they get to treat you any old kind of way. So that's why it bothers me when I hear these fans, because like I said before, a long time ago, a lot of fans have an owner's mentality. It kills me when these fans try to preach loyalty. Loyalty. Well, number one, this is a business. There's no loyalty in business. You're only loyal to yourself, especially as a business independent contractor, as all professional athletes are. Even in college, you're an individual contractor. You're only loyal to yourself, your family, and your own situation. All right. So I just think what's happening, these young football players are seeing how these NBA guys are taking executive powers in their own hands and how they getting these big deals. And they looking at it like, well, wait a minute. And it's like, it's an envy type thing, not in a bad way, but they envy these guys. Because let's be honest, these guys are going to the same vacation spots. They're going to the same parties. They're going to the same social gatherings.
With
So
the
they,
same agent.
yeah, and then they looking like, golly, man, you know, I'll give an example. Like if I'm Lamar Jackson, God dog, how the hell is, you know, Mike Conley Jr. getting $20 million a year? He ain't even the top 50 in the league.
He's not even a top 5 point guard in the league, you know?
Right. And here I am, one of the top players in this league, and I can't even get half of what this job. And it's frustrating them. And then they looking at a basketball player saying, I don't play half as long as this guy. You know, the sport is not as physically demanding. And then they looking at, and see, these kids are smart. They're looking at the revenue that these owners are bringing in as far as these TV contracts, jersey sales, game sales, and stuff like that. So
speaking of that, that's why I say Lamar Jackson is playing the ultimate game. He's not signing a contract this year unless they give him what he wants, because that new TV contract starts in 2023. Why I take nickels on a dollar when I can basically triple my worth next year and be a free agent the way everybody's bidding on me instead of one team? Basically, he playing free enterprise now. Everybody come to me. Mm-hmm. I'm taking this deal, and that deal, and I'm gonna put all y'all deals together. Whoever offer me the better deal, guaranteed, I'm out of here. He playing. That's another reason why I say he's the ultimate free agent in football. He's showing everybody that the NFL owns don't have control. I have control. This is why I say he was born for this situation, because everything led to this path. Everybody laughed at him for not having an agent. He played the game perfectly. This is how you play chess. It's perfect.
Absolutely. And to be honest with you, I mean, am I going to be one of them old guys that say, well, man, he's doing it? No, because let's be honest. When you did have an agent, the agent worked for you.
Exactly.
So now it's to the point to where, okay, well, if the agent worked for me and I'm seeing these guys over here, my own comrade, my own same guy in the same generation that showed me in an entirely different sport in another league on how he negotiated his deal, that he didn't need any professional representation, that he was his own. But see, and that's the part that gets me too. Because they preach to us. Because they even did it with me when I was a player. They used to preach to us about, you know, you're your own corporation. You your own entity. Well, okay, if I'm my own corporation, if I'm my own entity, then I should be my own representation.
Exactly.
Okay. So
but see, once again, you need to be indoctrinated some kind of way. That's all.
No, because again, these kids are a lot smarter than when we were. Okay. Right. These kids, and that when I see it, I stand up and I give them a standing ovation when I applaud it, because it's about time. You know, these kids are getting smarter. They're getting more privy to the game, and they're more business savvy and saying, wait a minute, this is what I want. This is what I demand, and I'm going to max out every opportunity that I can, and I'm gonna squeeze it out.
In hindsight, everybody thought the Cleveland Browns are crazy for giving Deshaun Watson their fully guaranteed contract. They seen the collective bargaining in 2023. I need to get him now for $230 before it becomes $270 or $300. They seen, everybody laughed at their organization, but they seen it here the time what Lamar Jackson was going to do in the next group of quarterbacks. Because honestly, in hindsight, what Pat did was stupid. Signed that 11-year, $400 million deal. Who signs for that long? That's a slave contract. You're locked in.
Well, that's for somebody that, you know, again, he only seen dollar signs, but he has an agent, right?
Right.
And exactly. Again, and see, this is what these agents do. They get in your ear. Oh, I think this is a great deal for you. It's a great situation. I mean, just let's get it in. Let's and see the agent. He or she is only thinking about their dollar sign. They bottom line. They're only thinking about what they bringing in. They can care. Yeah, they tell you technically they care about what you get. But see, when they negotiate these deals and stuff like that, they're thinking about what they're bringing in. No different from when a car salesman sell you a car. When they negotiate that price, only thing they doing when they talking numbers, they only negotiating their commission.
Right.
And that's all the agent is doing.
But
so they're going to tell you, go ahead.
But this also reminds me of a boxing analogy. Floyd Mayweather made $250 million. He made half a billion dollars off the Pacquiao fight in one fight. Mm-hmm. Canelo Alvarez go ahead and sign an 11-year deal with DAZN for $375. Everybody saying Canelo had a good deal, but Floyd made half of that in one fight. That's not a good deal if you know your worth.
But what's the difference though? Do Canelo have Al Heyman?
The difference is Canelo got to work for his money in 11 fights. Floyd made that in one fight. It's just like Lamar. Lamar want his money guaranteed, or at least half of it guaranteed. Pat got to wait damn near 6 years to get his money. It's not making any sense.
Well, the thing is, it's like Floyd, I think what Lamar is doing, I think what he's done prior to him coming to the NFL, I think he surrounded himself. Same what LeBron did.
Right.
They surround themselves with the most business savvy individuals they can ever come across. And they put in this game, because you got to think about it. Let's keep it a buck. Floyd, I like him, but do you honestly believe that Floyd is the greatest business mind? You know what I'm saying? Because to be honest with you, it's Al Heyman that's behind that. Exactly. Al Heyman is the one that's dropping these jewels in his ear saying, look, you need to do bam, 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 this, and that. And I'm telling you, go this right, bam. Rich Paul did it for LeBron. And I think later on down the road, I think that somebody's going to come out who's behind that Lamar Jackson entity.
Al Heyman Floyd Mayweather was Al Heyman project in boxing. Like I say, the game is about to be changed with Lamar. Lamar's about to show everybody, look, do it my way. Yes. Remember AI crowd about the Reebok deal. He's like, man, I ain't need an agent for this. I could have did this shit myself. Remember what the Nike did? And that's what Lamar is doing. Y'all don't need representation. First thing first, the contracts in the NFL sleep. Mm-hmm. And honestly, from my point of view, Lamar want to be the highest paid player in the NFL, and the boy deserves it.
He deserves it. He deserves it. I mean, because he deserves it. I mean, because let's be honest, this is Lamar's fourth year, right?
Yeah, going to fifth. Going to his
fifth year. Okay, right. So in his 4 years, let's get this. When did Pat Mahomes sign his contract?
Last year.
How many league?
He was four. Here, Lamar.
Okay, so prior to him signing that contract, did Pat Mahomes get a league MVP?
Yeah.
Okay, he got all pro. Okay, so I believe that Lamar Jackson is a better talent than Pat Mahomes. Okay, and on top of that, where's Lamar Jackson's equivalent to Pat Mahomes' Andy Reid? Okay,
not on this team.
He don't have an Andy Reid. Okay, he don't have a Kansas City. It's a great organization, right? But you talking about this guy got to lead a post-Ray Lewis Baltimore franchise. Okay, he got to lead a post-Ray Lewis Baltimore franchise, and then on top of that, he had to rebuild it. He had to be a part of that rebuilding process.
Exactly.
Okay, and he's gonna be there. So you got to think. Well, right, wrong, and different. He deserves more than Pat Mahomes. Okay, and that's why that's what I'm saying. It's going to set a precedent, because now all these players gonna look around. They trust me. They're all watching closely. All 1,800 players are watching how this deal going down closely, and then it's gonna make them question, say, "Well, do I really need an agent?"
You don't. But check this out. I remember you told me about the press. Every year, 2 weeks before training camp, the craziest articles about Lamar Jackson come out. Last year, I put up in the description. Last year, Pro Football Focus said Lamar Jackson wasn't a top 50 player in the NFL. Now this year, he's not a top 10 quarterback. So what the fuck is going to be next year? He's not a top 20 quarterback. It's like this rhetorical. It's just like this rhetorical nature with the press, man. It's like, why y'all slandering this, man? No other quarterback in the history of the NFL been slandered like this.
It ain't the NFL. It ain't these press. Let me tell you something. Who's releasing these press? All roads lead to Baltimore. That's who's doing it, man.
I had a dude call me out, and I had to shut his ass down with the video. Mm-hmm. Talk to him. Say it again, please.
all roads lead to that Baltimore organization who's leaking out these stories about him not being. Because think about this real quick. Think about it. Okay, different situation, different player, but the same tactics. You got to understand. Pay attention to the tactics. Okay, when Deshaun Watson, when all this stuff broke out, right? Remember, he became the minute he started becoming disgruntled in Houston, all of a sudden, all these women come forward. Who you think told these women to come forward? Who you think released all these stories? It was the Houston Texans organization that's behind that. So who's behind? And wait a minute, and they asking, well, why are all these women coming out now? Who you think told them to shut up? Who put a gag order on them?
Who gave them NDS papers?
Yeah.
Man, it's like this. I got two examples of owners owning media outlets. Ted Leonce, the owner of the Washington Wizards. He owned Millennial Sports Company, little entertainment group here. And I think, it was on the tip of my tongue. It's the Jets owner. He's Johnson & Johnson. But it's another owner that owns a high-class sports media firm. These owners own everything, like you said. But Ted Leonce, he's a quote-unquote local guy in D.C. He owns another media platform.
They own the media. So these owners own the media. But see, again, your casual fan don't look beyond the surface. They just honestly believe that these owners are just some old gee shucks. I'm just a football franchise owner. That's it. I'm totally innocent. But you got to understand this in business, man. Especially when you're negotiating the price of something. Okay. You know you want that product, but the ideal is to get the product as cheap as possible. Okay. And think about it. If he's going, okay, they know he's going to ask for money in business. And when you're about to buy a car, you're about to buy a house, you're going to look around and look at all the flaws. Well, let's just say that I'm about to buy this new car. Well, it is a factory recall on the airbag. Okay. Right. Well, it's known to have a bad transmission after 50,000 miles. Or can that be factored into the price? So when going forward with this Lamar Jackson thing, all of a sudden, you got an anonymous defensive coordinator saying that he's not a top 10 quarterback. And all of a sudden, you got this old bozo. See, that's why I don't pay attention to this bozo mess, okay? He's not a top 50 player. No, excuse me. 4 years in the NFL, All-Pro, Pro Bowl, League MVP, and led this franchise to nothing short of a postseason. How the hell you're not a top 50 player?
What more else can you ask for? Averaging 200 yards passing and 100 yards rushing.
100 yards rushing. You didn't have seasons where you didn't have over 1,500 yards rushing and 3,000 yards passing. That's some old Madden created 99 across the board type stuff.
With no number one wide receiver, no. Come on, yo. You can't make this shit make sense.
You can't make it up, man.
Man, look, y'all.
So
also, the other owner is the New York Knicks owner. He owned the Knicks and he owned the MSG network. They the two owners, Ted Leonce and dude from the owner Knicks.
Yeah. So if you don't do what I say, if you don't adhere to my demands, I'm going to tar and feather you and publicly humiliate you and devalue you as a player and as a person. I'm going to devalue you. Okay.
But my thing is, why everybody falling for the okie doke in the hotline? Y'all. It's like, y'all not realizing every year it's the same goddamn conversation. This with a different title. It's the same shit.
Fam, you got to understand, man. You know, in the words of the great late George Carlin, one of my favorite comedians growing up, majority of the people in society lack the ability to critically think.
Right. Okay.
People don't ask questions. See, people are taught to read. People are not taught how to question what they read. Okay.
Exactly.
So.
Oh, please believe me. Somebody gonna call us crazy for questioning while we questioning them.
Yeah, and you're supposed to question, what you're reading. You're supposed to, question the validity of what you're, viewing and stuff like that. You're supposed to have an alternative type of thinking and say, wait a minute, do I have to digest it? Do I have to take this on face value? I mean, if you look at it, this is the oldest, and if you understand and you peel the layers of that onion back, you'll understand that these are some of the oldest tricks and tactics these owners been using on players since the days of contract negotiations.
And when it comes to the Ravens and national news, the Ravens use 2 reporters that break their news. Peter Florio, and they use the white boy on NFL Good Morning, Peter Schrager. They break all the Raven news. They give out all the behind-the-scenes shit. So anything leaked from the Ravens, it's coming through them. You know it's coming from somebody higher up on the team.
They're the gatekeepers. They're the gatekeepers.
Exactly. Well, Peter Florio, he got this big break here with Dirk Mason. They got the beefing on the radio back in the day. So that was a good look for him. He been cool ever since. Mm-hmm. So, you know, Peter Schrager, he did something here in Baltimore, but he wanted their go-to guys.
And see, that's the thing. Like, if you don't have but a certain amount of members of the media, main media streams coming out of that city and where that organization resides, okay, they're going to gatekeep all the information. They're going to have an agenda. They're going to have an opinion that you can't sway. And nobody can question them because they're the biggest entity. They're the biggest conglomerate in town. Okay.
See, when I start talking like this, a lot of niggas be sneak dissing me, even on the radio. I'm like, yo, I'm just keeping it a buck. I'm like, y'all see this shit. Baltimore, like I keep saying, Baltimore, a small town, and you know, one entity control everything.
Right.
I'm not the bad guy. I'm just cool. I just see this shit for what it is. But everybody want to play the game. You ain't got to play the game all the time. You feel me?
As Kwame Brown said, the go along, get along game.
Exactly. And that's punk shit, though. Because I come around motherfuckers uptight, but the old heads love me. They was like, yo, you be keeping that shit a buck. I'm like, yo, all these other niggas, they like.
Because you got to understand.
You know.
Because what their radio station or their podcast or whatever stream that they own is sponsored by. Look at their sponsors. Okay. Exactly. If they sponsored by something that's involved in the Baltimore Ravens or any type of giant corporation, if you say anything against their interests, they're gonna say, hey, pull a plug on them, to where you got an independent mind. You got your thing is grassroots, your thing is authentic. Okay. Right. They got to placate to their sponsors. Okay. You ain't got to placate to nobody. This is all filtered. This is coming from the gut. This is your thoughts.
And honestly, that's why I call it sugar pop, because we dangerous. No, we keep it a buck. We ain't dangerous. Just keep it a buck.
Right.
I just hate this the way dudes are buck broken with their hobby. Yo, this is a hobby, yo. Come on.
Because they chasing that dollar, fam. They chasing that dollar. You know what I'm saying? They the quickest way for them is to, okay, let me get these sponsors, and I gotta say this, I gotta say that, because even though I don't feel this way, I gotta take this side because this is what the sponsors want. But at the same time, your sponsors, the sponsors try to play this pretend game and say, you know, we want you to be real, we want you to be candid and unfiltered, and that's bullshit. You know what I'm saying? They give you an agenda and say you can't say this or against this, or, you know what I'm saying? You gotta say it. You gotta go by this playbook.
I had one dude on Twitter, because I was like, man, the radio station here bullshit. He said, well, why would they go against the Ravens and kill their sponsors? I was like, yo, it's sports talk radio. It's opinionated, yo. I'm like, they ain't got no passion. So I was like, yo, you mean to tell me you'll sit here and let somebody bullshit you? This is being in good graces? It's sports talk radio. Y'all jump on Lamar Jackson for having a bad game, but the Raven organization that you seen that's been going one way the whole time, but you won't say nothing against them, but you put all the blame on Lamar. It's crazy.
Well, but see, watch how they play. See, again, you can't put all the blame on Lamar because this is football. You know, if this is the ultimate team sport, now you try to market it as the ultimate team sport. Well, if it's the ultimate team sport, one man can't lose it just as well as one man can't win it. Okay? So if the Ravens lose, the Ravens as a team lost. But I get it. Lamar Jackson is the franchise, so he got to be the guy to answer all the tough questions. But if for any football analyst that know how to dissect the game, you will realize, well, wait a minute, this is not this guy's fault completely. Could he have played better? Everybody could have played better. But however, does he have enough around him that puts him in a position to where he can succeed? Does he have the personnel around him? Does he have the coaches around him? Does he have the right people that's making the decisions upstairs in these organizations, that's bringing these type of talents in as coaching and as teammates? You know,
But
you got to question. Or do you have an owner? Matter of fact, do you have an owner that's going to support him?
But the way you talking, they don't want to hear that. They say, well, Lamar was an MVP, and each year his stats went down. What quarterback will have the same numbers as it was as an MVP? Of course, the numbers are going to go down.
Well, again, ask you this question. Outside of Lamar Jackson, give me an offensive weapon that was in a Pro Bowl.
The tight end.
Okay, Aldrich Crumpler was a Pro Bowler with Michael Vick.
Okay,
but that's what I'm saying. But again, you got one Pro Bowler. Now, watch this. Watch this for a second. When Kansas City had Pat Mahomes and all them, you had Kelsey, Pro Bowler, all pro. You had Tyreek Hill, all pro.
Right.
So you had multiple all pro and Pro Bowl targets that this Pat Mahomes could throw the football to. Okay. Every quarterback that's successful in this league has at least have about 1 to 2 Pro Bowlers, 2 to 3 Pro Bowlers on their team that they can get the ball to.
But so Lamar Jackson, excuse me, well, he got the number 1 tight end. But the tight end is like, what's the word I'm trying to say? He can't do everything a wide receiver because he's in the middle of the field.
He's in the middle of the field.
Right.
And the reason why Kelsey was able to get off, and not take nothing away from Kelsey, because Kelsey's a great tight end, but the reason why he had the looks that he had, and we're going to see how it's going to play out this year. Now, you ain't got no Tyreek Hill.
Right.
Okay? Now that middle of that field is going to shrink. You know what I'm saying?
Double team.
Oh, Lord. You're going to see all kind of like blanket and disguise coverages. They're going to shrink. They're going to shrink up the middle of that field, boy. And life is going to be hell for Pat Mahomes and Kelsey. Now that you ain't got that guy on the outside that can stretch that field. Okay? Right. Now, if this Lamar Jackson guy has only had a tight end to throw to, who the hell he had to hand the ball off to? At least Michael Vick had T.J. Duckett and Warwick Dunn to hand the ball off to.
He ain't had nobody, but this is another thing for this season. He got 3 running backs coming off of ACL injuries. He got J.K. Down. Hey, I ain't never seen nothing like this. He got J.K., he got Gus the Bus, and he got Hill. That's even if he'll make the team. So he got 3 running backs on the pup list. What's your expectations for this team?
Well,
you got a brand new offensive line. You have no pass rush on defense. Your linebacker core you haven't fixed in 3 years. What is everybody's expectation? It's like this. I always say Lamar Jackson good for 8 and 9 years, 8 and 9 wins a year. That's just on him. But when that our schedule come around, you start playing on teams twice. They tighten up on him.
Well, see, the thing is, it's because of his type of talent. And again, and they see, I'm gonna put you like this. It's so, how can I say it? When you had that type of talent, they wanted him to be dumb. Okay? They wanted him to go along with everything. It's just that what he's doing, they realizing how intelligent this kid is. So to be honest with you, you have a lot of organizations that do this out of spite. They tried it with Watson. They will sit up here and try to sabotage you.
They do it to the young boy in Chicago. He ain't got nothing around him.
They ain't gonna put nothing around him. Hell, they doing it to Kyler. Well, to a degree, they trying to do it to Kyler Murray.
But damn, you asked my question because at first I thought it was crazy that our team was sabotaging own players. Looking at what they doing to Lamar, you can honestly say it. Where's his number 1 wide receiver? We drafted the boy last year. And Bateman, he looks the part, but he was hurt last year. We don't know what we're getting out of him.
Listen, not to cut you off. Yes, to answer that question, these organizations, if they don't like you as a quarterback or they don't like you who you are, they will cut their nose to spite their face. Case in point, if I rewind the clock back about 14, 15 years ago, look at the Tennessee Titans. When they drafted Vince Young,
right.
Okay, the owner, he wanted Vince Young because he was a Texas guy.
Okay.
Well, Jeff Fisher and Norm Chow, were USC guys, they didn't want Vince Young. They wanted Matt Leinart.
I remember that.
They were butting heads. They was like, "Oh hell no!" So allegedly, they said Jeff Fisher done everything he could to sabotage Vince Young.
It's believable. And all the boy did was win while he was there. All he did was win.
And beat the shit out of USC in that national championship. And they took it some kind of way. So, And you got to understand this. You got to ask this question too. Because I bet you there was some people that were at odds that wanted to keep Joe Flacco around. Because you got to think, Harbaugh was a Flacco supporter.
Exactly.
So that tells you one half of the organization was Team Flacco, and then when they drafted Lamar Jackson, you had the other half. So that right there tell you that they were butting heads there.
It was news articles of Harbaugh. I can post them up. I'm gonna put them in the description. Harbaugh saying when Joe Flacco get healthy, he's gonna be a starter. I think Bashotti nixed that because Joe was about to come back in the game. Then there was a radio personality here. He on the AM dial. I always tell you, I told you this before. He was like, if they start Lamar Jackson over Flacco, it's going to be a racial divide in the city. How's it going to be a racial divide with Baltimore all black? Ain't no motherfucking racial divide. I showed it. Remember, I showed it to you.
Yeah.
The white boy, he was like, man, he acting like he smoked crack and shit.
Right.
So, you know, it was real. I'm going to put the articles up in the description.
I remember we was talking about that. I remember when we was talking, I said, no, brother. I said, when they drafted Jackson, I said, no, they ain't bringing in this dude to be sitting down. This dude going to start. I said the Flacco era was done.
Right.
And Harbaugh fought it because you got these coaches and you got half these people in these organizations that be loyal to a certain quarterback to say, you know what, I'm gonna die with this quarterback. I'm gonna get fired when they release this guy. I'm gonna die on my heel with this guy. Okay. Right. But then you got another half to say, you know what, I see the future. This is where I see this organization going. I want this Lamar Jackson kid. I'm gonna put my job on the line saying that he's gonna work, and if he doesn't, I'll go out with him. So you got organization within that organization, you got infighting doing that. You know what I'm saying? So whoever's the most powerful at that time, whoever's under center, they will do everything in their power to sabotage this, to go to that owner and say, see, I told you, you know?
Right. And we see it all the time in the NFL. You be like, man, why he make that call? Why is he doing that? You be like, shit, this don't make any sense. You know the team that's tanking in the NFL. You know it.
Well, my thing is, with a talent like that, again, I mean, let's look at the NBA. They did it with Michael Jordan, okay? Dude, this is a once-in-a-generation type talent we ain't gonna never, ever see again, okay?
You know what? Not even football-wise. On the what he doing in the negotiating room, we ain't gonna never see this.
Well,
that's why he's the Curt flood of the NFL.
Well, you gonna see it. We gonna see it again. It's just that he's setting a standard. He is starting with him. To where, again, all other 1,800 players, they paying close attention. And then once it goes through, these players going to look at their agents like, do I really need you? Okay. And see what it's going to do is now these organizations, these team presidents, these general managers, these owners, they are going to have to sit down with each player individually instead of talking to a filter with their representation. They're going to have to sit down and talk to these players themselves and negotiate deals, okay, which they never wanted to do.
And as we can see in the NFL, the play ain't supposed to have power. Lamar got all the juice, like I said in the video in January. He got all the juice, and the NFL don't want that. You played in the league. The NFL don't want individuality. They don't want that.
No, they don't. Because, again, you talking about a generation of kids. These kids are intelligent. They understand. They privy to the information with these concussions and stuff like that. They're retiring early. See, that's another trick too. They want to get this bag, and they like, I'm not going to play this game forever. And look at that. Let's be honest. The shitty ass healthcare system y'all got. Okay, the NFL benefits are the worst. Okay, as far as like taking care, they looking at all these old guys that played in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. The guys that made the game what it is. And they looking at these guys that can barely walk, ain't got enough money to fill a prescription. These dudes are damn. A lot of NFL veterans are homeless.
Now, how did the NFLPA take care of you? What they do for you since you've been out the league?
As of I ain't gonna sit up here and totally shit on them. As of late, I'll put you like this. Can they do a better job? Hell yeah. But I give them a little bit of credit. They got a couple programs set in place to where, okay, if you fall on hard times, they can help you out a little bit, but that's temporary. That's a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. And they got a good educational program to where if you want to go back to school, they'll pay for it. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, that's some shit that they should have done a long ass time ago.
Now,
you know
if you got an old football injury-related injury, would they cover your surgery?
Hell no.
So you out here all alone.
You out here all alone. You got to think. You got to think these guys got to get hip replacements, knee replacements. Okay, and on top of that, they got to pay out of pocket with these premiums. They got to pay out of pocket with these co-pays and stuff like that. And they don't pay these doctor bills. They got to be damn near homeless. Okay. And you got a lot of retired athletes that are homeless. And
all they take one medical condition. That's it.
Right. And they looking at the negligence, how negligent they've been with this concussion litigation. Okay. And to where you got players that's paying attention to shit like that. These kids are paying attention to that. They're like, oh, hell no. Man, look, let me do about 7 years, get me enough to get a pension, make this amount of money, and see, they calculate. I'm going to tell you what they're doing, Tavon. This is why they're getting this big money. Because, see, they looking at the years that they get paid, and they calculate their monthly pension. Okay, right. If I make X amount of dollars a year, I would get X amount of dollars once I get vested, and I would get X amount of dollars a month for my pension. Okay. You know? So they looking at stuff like that, and they like, wait a minute, I'm going to look at the long term of this thing. Okay, man, if I play 15 years, man, I ain't going to be able to walk.
And the bad thing about it, man, y'all play the most grueling sport, and y'all contracts ain't guaranteed. No. Man, y'all had the perfect opportunity 2 years ago to shut this shit down and all of us get guaranteed contracts, but nobody wanted to go. No.
You got the weakest union out of all three major sports. You got probably the worst union. And I hate to say it, but the Morris Smith, I mean, dude, come on, man. Like, he a little bit better than Gene Upshaw. I mean, right. And I hate to say this again, dude, Gene Upshaw better be glad a lot of them old guys didn't go to a funeral. For real. Because they dudes would have been spitting in his casket. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how much contempt they had for that man, because he was an am owner's pocket.
But the way the contracts are going now, the more guaranteed money that's being made, do you think they just like going past the NFLPA with that, like Watson contract? Everything is guaranteed up front. Do the NFL Player Association got anything to do with that? Can they add? Can Watson add anything like y'all take care of me after the game, after my career over in his contract? That's what I'm trying to say.
Because the thing is, it's like, well, where he can get, it's like, I tell you this, like when they negotiate, when you hear about players taking pay cuts, you know what I'm saying? They're not taking a cut in salary. All they doing is just like, look, you just going to pay me this. You're going to cut this and write me a big ass check. Okay. And I'm just going to make it, and that's going to take care of this. And I'm going to make this little bit of end. I'm not taking an actual pay cut. You're just going to cut me a big ass check. You know what I'm saying?
So you giving me some upfront money off the back end.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. So that's all that's doing. But it's like the NFLPA is powerless when it comes to like, the NFL, like trying to, give them money on the back end and stuff like that. It's not like the NBA to where, hey, dude, these dudes, like once they sign, they getting paid. They own, you know what I'm saying? Or baseball for that matter. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like, no, and that's the thing. That's as far as like this Lamar Jackson thing, these kids are paying attention. Look at, like I said, when Patrick Willis retired prematurely, that set a precedent. Like he looked at this thing like that. Calvin Johnson, all these guys. You know what I'm saying? And they like, and that opened up a lot of eyes, saying like, man, do I want to be 35, not having no memory in my life and can barely walk?
All that. Earl Campbell, prime example of that, man.
Saddest sight I ever seen in my life, dude. And I'm gonna tell you how ironic that was. I ain't trying to go off subject, but that was the first player. That was the first player I've seen live growing up when my dad took me to a Browns game when they played the Houston Oilers. Okay, like he was the first player I seen live, and then he was the honorary captain when we was in Houston at a Super Bowl. His two sons had to walk him across, like they had to hold him up. And he was walking so gingerly, and we all looking, and like I said, I ain't trying to speak ill of the dead, but This motherfucker, Gene Upshaw, had the nerve to like stand with him, act like he chummy with him, like, motherfucker, you one of the reasons he like this.
This is a good segue. Would you let your child play youth league sports?
No.
Okay.
I mean, well, as far as, see, I'm gonna put you like this. Well, I ain't gonna say no, like, he have to ask, like, he had to ask me, like, Dad, this is what I want to do. All right, are you sure? Yeah, but that's not a sport. I'm not gonna push on him. Like the lady I'm with, my stepson, I never push football on him. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, I do you one better. Like my daughter. Well, she's been out of high school. She's in college now, but like, even when she was in high school, man, when I tell you, I had every coach from volleyball, basketball, softball, all these jokers calling me, hey, do your daughter? I said, listen, man, let me tell you something. Let me cut this short right now because I know why you calling me.
Right.
Well, you in NFL? I said, listen, I said, let me talk. I said, listen, you're wasting your time. Right. What do you mean? I said, that girl is in the animals. That girl can give a fuck about sports. And they were like, I said, no, because they were like, why didn't you? I said, I never pushed it on her. Okay. Right. I'm that proponent of you have a passion. Okay. And you realize your child's passion, and then you put all your energy and resources behind that child and make sure they follow their dream. Like, dude, I seen my daughter climb flights of stairs in 2 steps. She's so athletic.
Right.
And we all know where that comes from. That girl got the strength of 10 men, and she's a little lady. And I'm talking about, fam, she running up flights of stairs. Boom, boom. My mother or anybody living with us that's visiting, how the hell she get up the stairs? I said, that girl is amazingly athletic.
Genes, you know.
It's in the genes. So,
I get what you talk about with youth sports. Man, it's a football field up here, right? Mm-hmm. I seen kids from 5 to 10 years old outside in 95-degree heat with no trees around. Mm-hmm. When I'm about to say maybe kind of radical, but man, that shit child abuse, yo. They had them kids out there practicing in that heat, and they're not getting paid for it. We all know that a person's brain not developed to 25. You got them out there in that heat, you dehydrating them with the practice. Right. That's child abuse. It really is child abuse.
Right. And see, these coaches and stuff like that got to be smart. Okay. If you got grown ass men passing out, dying in this type of heat, like, again, athletes come along. Remember, I told you at the beginning of this conversation that it sets a precedent.
Right.
Remember Corey Stringer?
Right.
Minnesota Vikings. I happened to have been up in Minnesota during that time, and it was humid as hell up there that week he died.
Right.
And
300-pound man.
He was a 300-pound man, and when he passed out in that shit, and it's like, but I'm gonna tell you, it's been going on before Corey Stringer, but it's been reported because now you got media. And see, you got a lot of these coaches that don't want to be, you gotta, as a coach, you gotta be smart and say, okay, we can practice in this, but we got to take a couple extra more water breaks. And we got to end practice. We got to cut drills and practice time down a little shorter. We want to get it in, but we got to be smart about
it. Is training camp and preseason needed in this era? Is it needed?
To be honest with you, the way this preseason is now, you really don't need it. It should be. It's obsolete, to be honest with you, because I put it to you like this. I would say yeah and no. Yes, because you got first-year guys, new guys that's trying to learn the system. Right. Okay. And they need it. Okay. Like when I was playing, I was always, I'm not gonna sit up here and tell you I was nobody's damn superstar. I'd be lying through my damn teeth. My nose would be growing long. I was nobody's superstar. All right. And dude, I had to make an impression every year to make that team. Right. Okay. It was for me. Okay. Right. And it was for rookies and then you might have a first year guy that's trying to learn the system. Okay. Right. And to where if 1 or 2 preseason games went by, they say, okay, fall back, you good. To where we want to see what the guy we just signed can do. We want to see what this rookie can do. But then you got your veterans that's been there making all this money.
Right.
He don't need no training camp. He never did. Like
I'm looking at it like this. The coach know how many spots are open on the team.
Yes.
Let's have them compete and practice for the spots. Ain't no need to be out there on that field.
Man, listen. When I was in like Baltimore, man, like Goose and them used to practice. Ray, of course, Ray gonna get it in. You know what I'm saying? But it be sometimes like you got your other guys like Peter Boulware, Jamie Sharper, all them guys that like, man, Rod, especially Rod. Man, come on, man. Let me ride this bike over here. I'm already in shape. Dude, I know the game. Man, it's like, they don't need it. They don't need it, and you risking injury. And then on top of that, I'm not trying to take off no more tread on his tires.
Exactly. All it takes is one hit. Everybody got one hit. That's it.
One hit. So you gotta, for certain guys that's, they ain't got shit to prove. Man, it's not, you wouldn't expect no Michael Strahan to be out there, doing 907, just colliding. Man, come on, straight. Yeah, get on that damn bike. And you gonna help the defensive coordinator go over this play card and coach up these young D linemen. And that's what they were there for during the training camp. But man, we'll come and see the way the preseason will work is, and not trying to be long-winded, but
go ahead, because I'm gonna throw a bone at you.
Because the toughest part of preseason used to be before the preseason game. Like the first 2 weeks was the toughest part because we going against each other all day, bang, 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 and on the field part. I mean, as a player, it wasn't the toughest part. But that was the most grueling part. And then once you get to that first preseason game, then it's downhill. It's easy after that because now you start preparing for the opponent. You're doing scout team and stuff like that. To where
everything becomes regular football. Everything
becomes, So it's really, it's short, to be honest with you. It's long, but short.
Now, hear me out. When Tom Cable was the Oakland Raider coach like 10 years ago, I think he was a creative and innovative what he did. They ain't hit during practice, right? They just practice the plays over and over and over again without hitting each other. You think that's a proper way of doing it in training camp?
I mean, to be honest with you, because I go even further. When I played in Buffalo, Greg Williams, we only had one a days.
Okay.
We did one a days to where he had just say, you know what, we gonna do just shells, and that just means shoulder pads and helmets. Okay. We gonna go hard in the morning. And then in the afternoon, we just going to watch some film and get off your feet, rest you up a little bit. Because a lot of these coaches, as years go on, they say, wait a minute, man. These are some of the top athletes of the land.
Right.
This ain't the 70s to where we going to kill these guys. These guys got to kill each other and, you know what I'm saying, and do this repetition over and over and over again. And
But see, that was the old coach's way of thinking, the butt breaking the play in. Hit. I mean, that way, that style of football is like, that's why I think Stephen McVay from the Rams is a genius. He don't let none of his players play in that goddamn preseason. Wow. Yeah. I need you for the regular season, not the preseason.
I would tell you a story. It's funny, man. God rest his soul, Tony Siragusa, man. But I remember it was a preseason game. I'm a rookie. So, not preseason game, but training camp. So, Brian Billick, 4 pattern practice this afternoon. So I'm a rookie. What that? I'm going in, got my pads on, put my, I ain't, just got the little shell thigh pads. That's all I'm putting in. And Goose and all the vets like, hey, Rook, the fuck you doing? I said, it's putting the pads on. What's up? They was like, man, take that shit off. We going out there in just helmets. Okay. We ain't wearing no fucking pads. And I'm like, man, he said, they all looked at me and said, hey, Rook, take that shit off. We all going out here. What I'm going to do, side against the players? So I got my helmet on. I'm walking along with, now I'm going along with the get along.
Right.
Oh, I'm hiding between like Sam Adams and all them. I'm like, yeah, okay. If Billy scream, he ain't going to scream. He's just going to go out there. Right. So we all go out there. We stretching. Billy just looked like, he just looked down, shook his head, and said, fuck it. Yeah, that's what they want. That's what they want.
Hey, they the vets. You gotta go with the vets say. You feel
right?
Me?
And not to mention, you got Goose. He was the president of the Ravens chapter as far as like the nflpa. So he was the representative. So because each team has a PA representative.
And you got to think, they different kind of players. They was gangsters, yo. That
Yeah.
2001 defense wasn't nothing but
Yeah.
gangsters on that defense, man.
Yeah, each NFL organization has a player rep. So
Right.
they'd go to that coach and say, Coach, you've been in the rules a little bit. We're not going out here. We're not doing this.
Right.
And the coach got to abide by it because now that player will go back. But see, yeah, to your point with these training camp, it's overrated, especially because you got to think these guys are working out year round.
Right.
Okay. And they keeping themselves in shape all year round, man. These guys are working out. Like, look at Aaron Donald. Look at that dude's workout regimen.
And honestly, why do you need it when you're playing an extra game? You killing these boys, man.
Killing them, right? You killing them. So, so to that point, it's mainly for, like I said, rookies. You got a system. You want to implement them in the system, and then first year guys that you're unsure about. That's who it's really for. But even then, you got to limit them because you ain't gonna beat the shit out of them because you're gonna need them. You know what I'm saying? To back up these guys going into the season. You know what I'm saying? Just in case your veterans or your for sure guys get hurt. So yeah, they gotta scale it back a bit because again, players are getting stronger, players are getting faster. Okay, the game and the speed of the game is much faster. These collisions are getting greater.
Speaking of that, your young boy Jordan Davis running a 4.6 at 300, 4.3 of 300 pounds, man. Come on.
Proud of that kid, man. So proud.
That's your baby,
Every time I hear that name, boy, I just see this smile, just But man, I'm gonna tell you, listen, I ain't had no. That's what you see was raw ability because again, that's genetics. Because his mother was a basketball player. His mother's a hooper. His mother was a hooper.
What's that the video the young boy you was putting up on Facebook 2-3 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
I knew it. I said that's the boy that was little old.
That was him. Yeah, that was him. Big Jordan Davis, man. That was him. Nah, but he was like that. I ain't gonna lie to you. He was like that when he was in 8th grade. You know what I'm saying? Because yeah, I'm gonna tell you a funny story. Like, it was my man Ralph. He was a strength coach at this high school that Jordan Davis was gonna go to. Okay. So he's like, Coach, you still training? I said, yeah. He's like, man, I got one for you. I said, okay. He said, man, this young man with his mother and boo. I said, okay. So I'm expecting I'm going to see some little kid, right? Now, he told me in advance that this kid was a big kid. And I'm just thinking, okay, yeah, he probably a nice-sized kid.
Right.
His mother pull up in this car, and I just see this big behemoth get out. And I'm looking around like, okay, well, where's Jordan? I see this woman and her husband. I got this little ass pad on me. I'm thinking like, ain't no way in hell this mother gonna be hitting me. You know what I'm saying? And I say, okay, ma'am, sir, Mr. and Mrs. Day. I said, where's Jordan? Oh, I am Jordan. What the fuck? Oh, hell no. Yeah. Then he was already 6'4", 280 pounds.
And that was like what? You said the 8th grade.
8th grade, going into the 9th grade.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he was a behemoth. And then, like I said, never, he wasn't no fat kid. He was always chiseled and man, and his mother is like, his mother ain't no little woman. His mother like a nice looking sister, about 5'9", basketball player. She can hoop. She's very athletic herself. So, and then I never met his dad. They said his dad was a big behemoth. So that boy just had genes.
You gotta think y'all down North Carolina, so you already know he corn-fed. So
yeah. Yeah.
They one of a kind.
So yeah, imagine something like that running at you at a 4.8.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Right.
Honestly, it's going to get better. These young boys are going to get faster and stronger, man.
Hey, more athletic, way more athletic. I mean, come on. I remember I had an argument with an old fool on Facebook talking about some these kids. And I said, are you kidding me? I said, all you got to do is look at the dunk contest when Dr. J and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar versus Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon. And look how far we came as far as athleticism. You got jokers doing 360 from the free throw line, putting the shit between their legs.
Exactly, man. These young kids today, they coming out the womb different, man. These COVID babies, man. I got a little nephew damn near 4 months. He damn near walking.
Yeah. They mutants. Them little mutants. They little mutants, man. Like, so if you factor that in to that point, these kids are way more athletic. They so like, as far as like their workout regimens, how they take care of their bodies, like the around the clock treatment that they get when they get injured, or the physical therapy that they invest in. Because that's another thing. Like, hate him, love him, or like him. LeBron James has taught these athletes how to invest back into your body.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Odell Beckham has done it. A lot of these guys under the radar, they invest money in their bodies, man.
Yeah, that's what comes part of being your own CEO. But,
yeah.
Oh, I got one last topic because we ain't gonna keep going long again. I'm trying to, professionalize this up. What do you think about the attack on the black quarterback this week? You got Pat, you got Kyler, you got Lamar. It started with Lamar, then the second Kyler Murray. They talking about he don't study film, and Pat yesterday. Yeah, this is crazy.
Yeah, let me tell you something, man. It cracks me up every time I see a black quarterback either ready to come into the NFL or ready to get a big contract, because it's like you see all these white analysts, it's like they act like you done stole their firstborn child. You know what I'm saying? They act like the world is going to come to an end. Like, come on, dude, it's 32 franchises. And it's about, ain't no more than what, 7? It's no more than 7 starting quarterbacks in the NFL out of all the 32 franchises, 7 of them starting quarterbacks are black.
I remember what you said. It's the ultimate glamour position, and a brother ain't supposed to be glamour.
Well, again, because that's the last position that they have left.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? That's the only position they have left, and they know it. And see, again, when it comes to the quarterback and any leadership position in football, again, Jimmy the Greek is their messiah, and I forgot the name of that book. It's on the tip of my tongue. Jimmy the Greek is their messiah, and it was this book. I forgot, it's killing me, but it talks about, it was a racist book that they put out that's supposed to say we don't supposed to be in a leadership position because we are not as cognitive as intelligent as white people. You know what I'm saying? So again, it's like,
and that anonymous GM. I'm just waiting for one of these white analysts. Just go full on Jimmy the Greek. Stop playing. Just go Jimmy the Greek. Just go.
There's no anonymous GM. It's a lie. Okay?
Exactly.
Because think about it. Every GM is, if you think about it, even if it was an anonymous GM. See, I'm going to tell you why it's all roads leading back to Baltimore. Okay? It's anonymous because what they think that they're doing, they think that they're trying to motivate Lamar Jackson.
Okay.
They think they motivate him. He's not going to be any more motivated than he is already now. Okay.
Right. See, he motivated because of that bag coming.
That bag coming. That's what's motivating him. So they think they're going to motivate him at one and then insult him on the other end. So it's like, but again, it's like if a GM feel, I'm going to put you like this, because we supposed to be cocky as players and as coaches. Right. Listen, if I think you ain't a top quarterback, I'm going to put my name on it and say it. Damn it. You ain't a top quarterback, and I got schemes and I got plans to show you why you ain't who you ain't. Damn it, I'll stand on it. I'm Omar Jordan. You ain't a top quarterback.
We can say what we want to say about Bill Podium. He stuck to his guns about Lamar Jackson, but he was wrong. But he stuck to his guns.
Yeah.
It ain't no more of that. They tried to shame the boy from being wrong. Oh, he was wrong, but he stood on it.
He stood on it. Stand on it. Be that guy. Yeah, okay, if you're wrong, you're wrong. It's okay.
But we in the era where nobody want to be wrong. Nobody want to go against the grain. That's why I hate this era. Nobody want to be tantalized on social media because everybody's soft in this era. That's why I'm glad we are here.
Dude,
if you don't like what we're saying, go in the comment section.
If I tell you one blunder, I'm going to tell you one blunder where I was terribly wrong about. One of my homeboys, he called me out on it. I thought Greg Oden was going to be I thought he was a better choice than Kevin Durant.
But it was looking that way. It was looking that way.
Yeah.
But he was injury prone.
Yeah. I was
like an Embiid type.
Yeah. I was like, man, I'm going to ride with Greg Oden. He was like, nah, man. Kevin Durant said, nah, I'm going to go with Greg. How wrong was I on that? You know
but everything about KD said no, his body type. He couldn't lift weights.
Right.
And
right.
He looked like a goddamn Ethiopian coming in this league, man. But he came to be one of the top 5 players.
Top 5 players. So, you know, but they don't want to be wrong. And like I said, and if you're a GM that feels this way about a quarterback, go out and say it. But you know, even if it was, ain't no GM gonna be foolish enough to sit up here and say who ain't this and who ain't that, because I gotta face this motherfucker.
but you're also looking at, if you do that, you also supposed to how you draft.
Uh-huh.
So you really can't say it. because you're supposed to how you draft.
Well, and then like I said, if according so that's why I say when you hear anonymous, these are lies, man. They just want to put out a story. Again, that's Baltimore doing that, man. That's all the Ravens organization doing that, man. That's all they doing. You know, they putting out bad car facts on a car that they trying to sell. And they trying to buy.
But they don't know this young boy's smarter than them, yo. He playing the game. He the spotless quarterback. He everything you want in a quarterback. I swear to God, he is. He got no record. He ain't around here fucking these whores. He behind the scenes. And
that's what because if think about it, if that was the case, a story would have been leaked out by now. Look at Deshaun Watson.
Now they trying to find anything on Lamar Jackson. This boy 37-12 as a quarterback. Aaron Rodgers lied about getting fucking COVID tests, but y'all made them the highest paid quarterback in the NFL at $50 million. Y'all not playing the game right. He's a fucking liar. He's the liar.
He's white.
In Green Bay. But the liar can do whatever he want. He blatantly lied, man.
They don't care. Listen, again, they don't care. Listen, this is two Americas, baby. Okay? The America that they live in and the America that we live in. All right? Like,
I hate the way they do Lamar because they're going away how he talk, how he look. But then it ain't about how he look, how he talk. When he doing the goddamn field, he win.
Man, listen. Again, they're gonna sit up here and over.
Okay, God.
Sorry about that, but they gonna sit up there and overly critique that man on everything that he do, the way he ties shoes, the way he have his towel out on his. They gonna overly that when it comes to black quarterbacks, they overly critique you. All right, they gonna sit up here and tell like, yeah, look at the type of shoes he wear. Is that okay for a quarterback that's supposed to be doing a 3-step drop? He can turn an ankle. I mean, come on, man. That's what they do. So they're gonna do any and everything away to take away why you can't do. Because watch, I'm gonna tell you, never knew him as a person. Don't got nothing against him as a person. But the way they pump him up, I be praying that white players like him fail. Like the way they pray. Look at what they do to Trevor Lawrence.
But he ain't the worst organization in the NFL.
But that's what I'm saying.
He get all the breaks. He get all the breaks though.
Yeah. But when he came in, they swore it down. He was the second coming. And I ain't got nothing personal against. And see, that's why I say it'd be unfair to a white player like Trevor Lawrence because I want him to succeed. But, buddy, if you succeed, I know how the media is going to gawk all over you, dude. This is why I don't want you to succeed.
He fit the part.
You know what I'm saying? But again.
The white guy with blonde eye, blonde hair.
But Trevor Lawrence's game wasn't no different than Cam Newton. You know what I'm saying? But all of a sudden he gets the praises and Cam Newton, you should be in the pocket more. Well, when you get Trevor Lawrence, he's a mobile quarterback, he's an elusive guy that like this. I'm like, come on, man, why the rules change? So because he does it.
I'm gonna throw this bone at you. Is the NFL the last corporate business that's practicing Jim Crow? Yes. Look at the owners of these leagues. You got old ass Jerry Jones. All these. Don't you take that knee?
Yeah, you got all these old time like owners, man, dude. Like if you look at a lot of the owners that's in these sports, like take an example, the NFL and the NBA. You got the NFL owners who are more overt racist, right, to where the NBA owners are more covert. You know what I'm saying? The only ones that gave the NBA a bad name and they were like, we got to get rid of him was Donald Sterling.
But
they heard and got him the hell out of there.
But in his allergy, he played the game right because I was listening to Gilbert Arenas. He was like, man, he played the game right. All he wanted was the collective ball game money. He didn't care if he was winning or losing because he was making billions off a losing team.
Yeah, he was in LA. Yeah, Clippers owner in LA. I mean, and so you got to think, like when you have like a situation like that, they hurry up and got him the hell out of there. David Stern was a covert racist. Okay. And so what they had, so they compared those two, and the NBA has done a good job to say, wait, and covert racists can't stand overt racists. Okay. They can't stand each other. Okay.
And you know why one league is like they're the same league. There's too many fucking baby boomers that own these teams.
Yeah.
And they still carrying that ideology from the 50s of when they grew up. Now it's a new beast. We got these Magna boys now. So it's going to be even worse 20 years now.
So you got to think this. Look at who we going to these owners' games. Look at these governors. Like, you knew game was over and where they stand when you see people like Chris Christie up there chumming it up with Jerry Jones at a Cowboys game. Here's Chris Christie, a Republican governor out of New Jersey. What the hell he doing at a Cowboys game? Well, both of them are Republicans, and one Jerry Jones has some interest that he got in New Jersey that he need Chris Christie, you know what I'm saying, approval on. Okay.
Behind the scenes business deals.
Yes. All. So yeah, I mean, yeah, them old time, like, yeah, them old slave owners, dude. They don't, them old Southern, like, nah, they ain't trying.
That's why the NFL got to do. The NFL has to do image, some kind of image repair. Everybody just thinking about the football on the field. Man, like you said, that combine ain't nothing but a slave.
It's a slave auction.
Right.
It's a slave auction. Like, what the hell football got to do? Listen, here's my thing. I've always said this, always believed. If I'm analyzing talent, I want to see your tape, how you play. Yeah, I want to sit down and have okay, I already know how you play. I seen your fucking tape. So right. I don't need to see how fast you run. I don't want to see how high you can jump. I seen how you play. So now, me as an organization, I have a philosophy. I have a way of doing things. I have an outlook on in the direction where my organization going. Now I want to sit down and talk to you man to man to see if your ideologies align what we got going forward with my philosophy going forward with my organization. So It should only be, if it's going to be anything in Indianapolis, it's an interview process. I want to sit down and have a conversation with you.
Exactly. Just to see where he at mentally.
Yeah, all I'm going to tell you what that shit is. Because I'm going to go out and let me say it. I don't give a damn if I get mad if the LGBT. All these white executives are little undercover gay folks. They just want to, let's be fine. Let's be for real. They gay. Hey, they want to look at these black bodies. They want to feel them. They want to touch them. They want to look at them. Come on. You know that these racist white men always had an affinity for these black guys. They want to have sex with them.
You know why? Because I got proof of that today. The Colts owner, right? Uh-huh. He went out there and brought all of Muhammad Ali old robes. Steve Harvey was talking about this Thursday. I'm like, why you go out here and buy all of Muhammad Ali robes and belts for $6.3 million? I was like, he said he's going to travel around the United States with Muhammad Ali's souvenir. I'm like, man, what kind of weirdo shit is this? That's weird. I remember you telling me that's the affinity for black.
It's the affinity for black men. Them slave owners had it. They used to go over there. Them slave owners would go have sex with their male slaves. Them old white Europeans used to go explore and try to have sex and rape African men and boys. Like, all that shit is like, why I gotta sit up here and look at and examine a naked ass man if I'm going to determine what pick I'm going to pick him on? That what the hell kind of sense that make?
Like you said, when the film shows you this, it is weird, man. It's weird.
Yeah.
It is weird.
I'm watching this film. I can tell by the type of player he is and his style of play, he can fit in this type of scheme. And okay, if I know he can fit in this type of scheme, now I just want to talk to him to see what kind of person he is. Now that's going to judge what kind of money, the type of money I can give him, and can I trust him on being on this team and being a part. Okay, yeah, he'll get along with such and such. Yeah, he's a star player of the team. Yeah, he'll get along with Ray. Ray like him. You know what I'm saying? They the same type person. But why the hell I gotta, look at his pecs. One pec is shorter than the other. And then they looking like each other. They talking to each other like, look at his pecs. Like, what the hell?
Men critiquing damn near naked men. Make it make sense.
It doesn't. And that's what it is. They have an affinity for him.
Right. Once again, that mentality. Oh, we own him. You heard a couple. Jerry Jones said it a couple times.
Yeah,
that's my boy. Yeah. White man calling young black man my boy. Come on.
Yeah. So Jerry Richardson slipped. He used to slip up and call some of us boys. We used to have to check him.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he's old. I'm old son. Hey, bullshit. Well, my grandfather told me about that word, sir. And my grandfather from Tuskegee, Alabama, and he told me about that word boy when it come from a southern white man. Okay.
Most definitely. Well, all right, we're gonna wrap this up. This has been nothing but informative, man. We give people game, man.
Third.
You know, we got our pick. That's 1-9. Get out of here. Thanks again.